Hello everyone and welcome to one more of my videos. I will not introduce myself at this point. I assume you already know who I am. If not, you can go and read the bio in the channel. So in today's video I want to discuss, it will not be an academic video because usually in my videos I offer sources and I touch academic or let's say I touch topics of Islam from an academic perspective. Today it will be more of a discussion, of a free speech video, and I want to clarify a very strong misunderstanding that exists out there about the relationship between the Hanbali School of Law, the Salafis, as we call them today, as we understand the term today, and the Wahhabism. And I decided to make this video because recently in one of my previous videos, the one about, I have 3 videos about whether God ordered women to obey their husband. So in one of the 3, I can't remember which one specifically, a person that I understand to be a female, she started having an argument with me about the iddah, the period that a woman should stay or less should abstain from relations after a divorce. Now, the general understanding of the average Muslim person is that the iddah period is the same whether the divorce is a talaq, which means that the husband has pronounced the divorce, or whether it is a divorce that it's a khul, which means that the wife has asked for a divorce. However, this is not a very accurate understanding. So in this discussion, and it's amusing and enlightening and slightly disappointing when I have such, when you touch on topics, specific topics with lay believers, that they just disagree with whatever you said and they just want to fight back. So the lady, she said that, the iddah is 3 months, and I was like, that's not exactly what it is, because there are opinions, scholarly opinions, that define iddah of the khul to be 1 month. And I gave her the literature, I gave her the scholars. Now, all of them, they are medieval scholars. And then she started calling me Salafi and Wahhabi and blah, 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 which was very amusing because I wish that the Salafis and Wahhabis will see that comment, and I would like to see their reaction. I'm far from Salafism and Wahhabism, if anything. However, there are a few things that I need to clarify. We should not, and I personally do not, at this stage and age and at this level of knowledge, okay, I do not categorize everyone together, or if you want, I can see the beauty and I can see the rationale in every aspect or belief or understanding of Islam, because essentially all the movements and all the sects and the subsects we have, Sunni, Shii, Deobandi, Barelvi, Salafi, Wahhabi, whatever. Each person that belongs in each of one of these sections, the subsections of Islam, they believe what they say. They believe that their understanding is God's intended understanding. And that goes for me as well. I mean, I identify as a progressive and feminist Muslim. Now, I understand the accusation because I employed scholars from the Hanbali school. And Hanbalism is associated with Salafism and Wahhabism, and again, I will say, I want to be very specific. I mean Salafism as we understand it today. And what do I mean about that? Or what do I mean by that? Salafism, the word Salafism, is the tendency to look back to the first Muslims, to the first generations of Muslims, in aim to understand the religion and in aim to understand the intended meaning of the Quran. in our days has been simplified to mean to be a synonym of Wahhabism. What happened is that the Wahhabis themselves, they didn't like the term Wahhabism because it made them appear that they worship Wahhab, Abdul Wahhab, so they chose to name themselves Salafis. But when they did that, they actually corrupted the term, because every Muslim I know, including myself, when I want to understand something, when I want to see whether something is correct or wrong or not, I go back to Sirah, which is the history of Islam, or I go back to read the Hadith. Now, parenthesis, I disagree with many of the Hadith, and I have an extensive series of videos about disagreeing with Hadith. But I disagree with Hadith when they are being employed to create laws. Hadith as a source of history, if you like, and approached critically, it's something I do. I don't think that anyone can understand Islam if it doesn't understand Hadith. So we all go back to the Salaf. We all look back to read or to learn what they were doing. When the Wahhabis corrupted the term, today Salafi means the strict puritanical form of worshipping, which isn't. So this is one clarification, that you out there, and when I say you, I mean the lay believers, you need to understand. The Salafism is a term that was corrupted recently, a century ago. Before that, meant every Muslim technically, anyone who looks back to the first Muslims to understand Islam. Now, Wahhabis and the modern day Salafis, they stem from Saudi Arabia, as today we call it Saudi or Saudi Arabia, back then was Arabia, and the prominent school of law, because we are talking about schools of law, we are talking about the legalistic aspect of religion, it's still the Hanbali school. Now, that creates a very common misunderstanding, that the Hanbali school, all the Hanbali scholars, are or hold the same ideas like the Salafis, today's Salafis, or the Wahhabis, which is wrong. But I have to admit that this was a misunderstanding that I held for a while when I was a bit younger, not so much in age, because from some point onwards we don't talk about age, but in knowledge. When my knowledge on Islam was not as deep as it is today, and by no means I mean that I know everything. I still learn, and I hope I will keep learning until the day I die. And the more I learn, the more I change my ideas, which is absolutely normal. That's why we seek knowledge. But I held the same idea. And this idea changed when I started studying different topics. So, for example, I had, maybe a year ago, I gave some seminars and I created some YouTube videos about the contract, the marital contract in Islam, and the right of a woman to put her own terms and conditions in her own marital contract. When I was searching the different scholarly opinions on the matter, to my great surprise, and this was an identity crisis back then, I realized that the Hanbali scholars, the ancient or medieval, if you wish, Hanbali scholars were the ones that they respected women and they supported the right of a woman to have her terms and conditions in her contract. To which it was a shock. I remember myself that for 2 days I had stopped everything. I had stopped the research, and I was like, but how can it be? How can it be that the Hanbalis are the feminists, if you wish? Which led me to, and this is a parenthesis, when I don't study the different schools of law in their own merit, because usually what people who are interested in Sharia or in the legalistic aspect of Islam, what they do is they opt for a school of law and they go and they study only this school of law. I don't do that. What I do is that I choose a topic and then I check the what each school has said on the topic, which means that I do a comparative study. So the first was about the contract. The second was about the iddah, the period that a woman should abstain from relations or she cannot get married. and from the day of the divorce, which for every other school is 3 months, regardless of what type of divorce it is. But for the Hanbali school, for some Hanbali scholars, it is 1 month. And there is a rationale. The rationale is that men are very fickle, very unstable. A man very easily will pronounce a talaq because his mood is bad, because he wants to threaten the wife or whatever, because he knows that he can take her back, etc. Whereas so a talaq gives this extra time for reconsideration, but also a talaq can catch the wife unprepared. And those of us that we have been married and those of us that we have been divorced, we know how important it is to be prepared to be divorced. So that's why, according to the Hanbalis, some Hanbali scholars, the ida for the talaq is 3 months. In these 3 months, the husband has the obligation to continue maintaining the ex, now wife, which means the woman has 3 months to arrange her details and make a plan for her future. When it comes to the khul, according to the medieval scholars, which I agree with the Hanbali line of thought, the idea is that the woman has already been prepared, mentally and emotionally has been prepared. And the moment that she reaches to the point to ask for the divorce, she has already made a plan of exit. Therefore, the ida period is only 1 month, because the only thing that we care about is pregnancy. We need to make sure that the woman is not pregnant in this time. After 1 month has passed and the woman has her menses again, which means she is not pregnant, then she can be free totally. Also, usually women ask for a khul, not always, but usually in abusive relationships. So the idea that for 3 months the woman that initiated the divorce will be living in the same house with an abusive partner, it's dangerous for her life. So the sooner she goes, the better. So in these two instances, there are other instances, but I will not make the video too long. The Hanbalis are right. And again, parenthesis into parenthesis, those of us that we know about Sharia, we know that when we say the Hanbalis or the Hanbali school, this is a very, very simplistic approach into the topic, because we cannot feed so much information. The truth is that on every matter, almost every matter, each school develops. So, what do I mean by that? A topic that the medieval Hanbalis said it's halal, let's put it, it's simplistic, but I just want you to understand. So something that the medieval Hanbalis said that it's permissible, the modern Hanbalis might make it impermissible. The reason being not because they, they deviate or whatever, but because there is the element of maslaha, which is the interest of the community, which changes according, as we move in history, and so opinions change. So even this idea that the Hanbali says that, or the Hanafi says that, it's not all the Hanafis, it's not all the Hanbalis, it's some specific certain Hanbalis said this. To go back to the notion of Salafism, personally, I tend to agree more and find more reasonable the rulings of the medieval Hanbali scholars, not the modern Hanbali scholars. But this is another big topic. At some point, inshallah, if God will bless me, I will start a series of related to Sharia. But it will be many videos, many hours of videos, because Sharia is exceptionally complicated. Anyway, I just gave you the example of what led me to create today's video, and I want to go back to the accusation, if you wish, that I'm a Salafi and a Wahhabi, and that's why I promote the Hanbali scholars. That's not the case. Hanbali school, as a school of law, it has many elements that I find them correct. Now, as I said, nobody's perfect. I am fully aware that some of my beliefs, some of my ideas might be wrong. I don't know which, because for me they are all right. That's why I follow them. Otherwise, I wouldn't. But what I want you to understand out there, especially now that some knowledge is available, not every knowledge, some knowledge is available out there, there is this tendency to start pointing fingers and reject everything altogether. You shouldn't do that. The Salafis, Wahhabis today, even the Salafis, Wahhabis, and I'm very conscious about what I say. There are Salafi/Wahhabi ideas today that they are right. Absolutely right. I have no question about them. And there are other Salafi and Wahhabi ideas that they are wrong, or I consider them wrong. That's why I'm not Salafi Wahhabi, because I don't agree with some of the things you say. That doesn't mean that I disagree with everything. And this is something that you need to remember also in our daily lives, and we need to, especially in our days where we live in communities that everyone and everything is sensitive, and you cannot talk about anything because someone will get offended. I mean, whatever you say, even if you say good morning, someone will get offended. It is important to remember that we are not infallible, we are not perfect, what we believe is not perfect, and also not everything that others believe is wrong. Okay? The wise person is the one that has the capacity to approach every piece of knowledge objectively and see, okay, this is something I consider to be correct, or I agree with, or I can live with, and this is something I can't. And this is why in today's world, if someone will tell you today that, oh, I follow this school, do an experiment. This is something I enjoy doing thoroughly. When someone tells me, I follow this school, I say, oh, okay, so you do this? And they might say no. Or I say, then if you, so why? Most lay believers don't know what their school says. They know what their grandma told them, what or Sheikh Google told them, and they follow that. Most people that they are conscious and they seek guidance for their day-to-day life, they practice something that in academia we call it fatwa shopping. Fatwa shopping is the tendency of Muslims today to go and check all the available fatwas, fatawa, in English, fatwas, on a topic, and then they pick the one that they like, they prefer, or two resonates with them. And this can be from any school. So, because technically every school of law is legitimate. Every ruling from every school, all schools, the 4 Sunni and the 2 or 3 Shia schools, is legitimate. And that's why we do fatwa shopping. Okay? So, it's very important for lay believers to understand that you cannot reject the entire sect or the entire school of law because you disagree with some aspects. And you should not blindly follow and adhere and uncritically attach yourself to any intellectual current, or sect in Islam. Yes, follow, but have the notion of being critical. Be capable of questioning the teachings and the understandings and the rulings of your own sect or current or subsect or whatever. So that is all. The main idea is you don't throw the baby with the water. Okay? Alhamdulillah, we are in an era where if you like reading and if you want knowledge, and I don't mean Wikipedia, knowledge is out there. It's up to us to do our due diligence and evaluate what exists out there. But you cannot say that because someone employs Hanbali scholars in one topic or Hanafi scholars in another topic that they are Salafis, Wahhabis or whatever. That's not how it works. And I believe that scholars, people in our level, in my level, we know that. I can hold conversations with people that I disagree with because I respect them, because they understand that from their point of view, they believe in that. They don't do it because they want to deviate me from the right path or whatever. That's what they believe it is the right path. I believe otherwise. But lay believers, they have, especially young people, and converts, they have this tendency of, putting everything in one category and then rejecting everything altogether. It doesn't work like that. That is all for now. Stay tuned, because soon enough I will publish another video, a very interesting video in my understanding, where I will showcase how Allah obliged itself and revealed Quranic verses for the sake of specific women. This video will also touch on the limitations of the Arabic language and how these limitations created back then in the era of the revelation created some problematics. And that's how later on some Quranic revelation came to correct these misunderstandings. And this will be the next video, inshallah. And then another video will come with, I'm not sure. I'm thinking to name the entire category of these videos something like what your scholars haven't told you. Where I will, in this series, I will showcase incidents of Sirah, of the Islamic history, or a hadith that most people don't know about it. So the first one will be about the allegations of infidelity against Aisha. And this is a very, very, very interesting incident of Islamic history that I was not aware until I was doing my master's. And it's very interesting to see how the Prophet handled the situation and how Aisha handled the situation and what was all about. And also explains a lot about the animosity that Aisha had after the death of the Prophet towards Ali. Because in this incident of the alleged infidelity, Ali didn't really support Aisha. But all of these in the next two videos. So stay tuned, subscribe, and share the videos with your friends. Because juicy topics are coming up. From me, for now,